Hey guys, Hijugon here. Welcome back to another video. Today I'll be reviewing chapter 404 of Hunter x Hunter. Now Togashi, wow. The Succession Contest arc is shaping to be, in my opinion, probably the best arc in the entirety of Shonen. Now his 19-page chapters, whew, they feel like 100 pages, I tell you, man. It's so hard to do videos like this, but I'm gonna try. I've got my notes with me. So let's just get into it. The chapter starts off with Zang Lei and Kurapika talking about Zang Lei's ability of his Nen coins done from his Nen beast, and about the coins changing value and design when given to people. So Zang Lei gives Kurapika one of his coins, and the coin instantly changes, and the value goes from 10 to 1. Now, this was good because Zang Lei was, of course, playing both sides of the field because he's got Benjamin's soldiers around. So he's saying, haha, this isn't a threat to Benjamin, don't worry. So as we can talk about this, so we can see a bit the mental warfare at play. And Kurapika's really just examining this, thinking, man, it's good Zang Lei's on our side and not against us, but it's dangerous because if ever Zang Lei gets under attack, he will use us as baits. But yes, turns out that it's a conjuration ability. Zang Lei is a conjurer, and that we have a Buddhism reference in this ability. Of course, we know that Togashi loves his Buddhism, the most obvious example being Isaac Netero and his 100-type body Guan San ability, which is a clear homage to Buddhism. And we see that this Nen ability from the Nen beast of the coins works through coercive manipulation. Now, what is coercive manipulation? It's a bit like Inception, right? The movie. I talk about this a lot with Hunter x Hunter because there's a lot of similar themes where it makes you believe an idea is originally yours when it's been implanted in you. So it's subtly making people more and more loyal to the third prince. Maybe making you think, wow, the third prince is pretty clever, and just slowly building on it to make you really loyal and reliable for him to use for his means. So this is an ability for after he has become king of the Kaken Empire, which, as we know, Nen reflects people's personality. So I found this to be very fitting. Then, of course, Kurapika doesn't tell Zang Lei about the coercive ability of it, just because he's thinking about the first prince god, and he doesn't want to tell Zang Lei anyway. So there's a bit of, mind games at play from both ends. Then, of course, there was Kurapika's rope thought experiments, because, of course, we know that Lazarus, of course, Zang Lei, and Tserriednich all control different factions of the Mafia. And then you've got Benjamin that can use that infighting to do martial law and control the military and get everyone in confinement whilst he roams freely. So he was just thinking to himself, the moment that things go down, Zang Lei is going to use us as bait and blame things on us so that he can be free to roam. So Kurapika is really on edge. We see Kurapika start to sweat, and we see the fact that Kurapika is starting to lose control. So it's clear that the story is ramping up in its pacing and that things are happening way sooner than we thought it would. The startup of the arc is finished, and as I thought before, we are in the middle section of the arc, but this just further confirms it. The pacing has taken a drastic increase, and it feels like those 19 pages were 200 pages because of the amount of plot events that happens. Now, of course, we see the return of Leorio. Glad to see Leorio, as always. He's one of those characters that whenever you see him, it just makes your day. We see Leorio and Cheetle carrying Halenburg's body and talking about how to save him. But of course, you know that Balsamico is inside his body. And then afterwards, we see Balsamico, who's actually Halenburg, looking onto this and thinking to himself, okay, the moment I go to sleep, he will wake up. So we get this moment where we learn about Halenburg's ability, and we learn that it's all probability of who gets in whose body, and that they have a sort of shared consciousness where the person, of course, from Halenburg gets priority over the person's body that they've taken over. But once they do sleep, of course, it's a give and take, so the other person takes control. And I thought this was very interesting because I've seen many series tackle the split personality. Of course, we saw Naruto and Kurama. There's a lot of situations where there's multiple people fighting over the same body. So I'm really curious as to what approach Togashi takes on this. I think it's very interesting. I think that the fact that there's such emphasis on speed and timing just raises the stakes. And we see that Halenburg's thinking to himself, if the autopsy is refused and it's called organ failure, it will further prove that it was the disease that caused it. Because, of course, the symptoms of the disease is that the organs fail and they die. So he's clearly trying to get his original body to die, which is very bizarre. It's not normally what you see, someone who's like trying to kill their body off, but he needs this to kill First Prince Benjamin. And he's talking to First Prince Benjamin on the phone saying, once the body is dead, my mission will be complete, so I'll come back to you. And First Prince Benjamin doesn't seem to suspect him anymore. He seems to be fairly relaxed. In fact, it seems to be going a bit too well for Halenburg. We know about Togashi, he likes to give us a sense of ease, then suddenly switch things up. And we see Halenburg talk to himself saying, once my body dies, I've got 10 hours to kill First Prince Benjamin. He's going to take a sleeping pill, he's going to stay up, he's going to go on his all-nighter frenzy and try to stay in the body for as long as possible. So now, after that, we get to see where First Prince Benjamin is sending his soldiers to confirm that Halenburg is dead. And we get a panel of all the princes looking in their monitors to really just see what's happening. Because this is a historical event. Out of all the princes, Prince Halenburg was one of the ones favoured to win. So he's the first major casualty in the succession contest. He's the first non-lower prince, which is apparently dying. So this is a huge deal. So after this, we go to an absolute monster, to Tserriednich. He's been training his Zetsu ability, and he's gotten it from 10 seconds down to just 3. Now he is a terrifying character because of this dedication. We see, of course, one of Beyond Natural's children, who's one of the gods that's sort of training him then at the moment, just astonished, scared, and frankly in awe and in shock. It's nothing he's ever seen before. He talks about it, the monologue, the intensity of the Tserriednich, his dedication, his work ethic, his natural talents. He combines the work ethic with the talent in a way no character has. It's like if Meruem trained for every moment of his life. And we get this moment where we see him controlling his Zetsu, and his aura is so refined. We see through Togashi's artwork just how far he's come along. Togashi likes to use visual implications to show us things, and here it's a very clear example of how much Tserriednich has evolved as an end user. And also, each time we see him, if you guys haven't noticed, he's getting thinner and thinner and thinner. And this means that he's not eating, he's not sleeping, he's not drinking, he doesn't care about what's happening with his mafia. The only thing he's focused on is Nen. When we first saw him, right, he was a tall, strong, muscular man. And now he's this thinny, malnourished man. And it just shows us how dedicated he is to learning Nen. And it's honestly quite scary. But there's two possibilities, right? The first thing I think of is when he comes back to the battlefield, he's going to be so strong, he just sweeps everyone, which is what I'm thinking. But the second thing, and something I got in my YouTube comments that made me think, is that maybe this is Togashi using him as an example. Maybe he's going to be the example of why you should keep up to date mentally with what's happening in your circumstances, not focus on your Nen. Maybe Tserriednich will be so powerful, but Nen abilities at play that you just need knowledge of will happen, and he will be at a massive disadvantage, and he'll either die or suffer a fatal injury or a loss, just to show us that natural power and ability isn't all, that you need to be switched on mentally, that you need to be part of the mental circus, the mental battle, the of course, king of the hill, the tug of war. You need to be there, or else there's no way you can compete. We saw this a lot with Morel and the character in the Chimera Ant arc, where he was able to compete with Chimera Ants way stronger than him just through strategy. We saw that Knuckle, Shoot, and Morel were able to neutralize Yuppie, which otherwise saying that there is no way they would have been able to do it, because Yuppie is a grown man and they're toddlers in comparison. So Togashi has shown us this aspect before, and I wonder, is he going to go back there? Or is this going to be a highlight of just how strong Tserriednich is, where he can take out all the powerhouses on the Black Whale? I think that's interesting. The only thing we can do is wait and see. But I think this poses some interesting questions of how his role is going to play, because he's been so disconnected. What happens when he eventually does reconnect? Whatever does happen, there is sure to, in one way or another, be a ripple effect. So after this, we get to see the different princes, of course. We get to see all of them, see what they've been up to. And then we get something very interesting. We get Prince Fugetsu that's asleep. Of course, Basho gave her a Nen ability to help her be protected from the Nen spirits. But she's still in rough shape. And as she's sleeping, perhaps dying, we see that Prince Kacho's Nen beast is almost like a ghost. It's like, it makes me think of the Jedi ghosts, you know, after they die. You see this light around her. And it makes me think, either when Prince Fugetsu is sleeping, she isn't able to manifest and she goes away, or it's that Prince Fugetsu is dying and her Nen ability beast is connected to Prince Fugetsu's life and now it's starting to waver, so she's starting to disappear. Either way, I think it's interesting. I think that it's not looking good. I think we're going to see another casualty in the next chapter, really. And I think that this is just going to further the pacing. The fact that, of course, we've got Melody, and we've got the man who's in love with Melody, and they're planning to kill Prince Lazarus. So I think we can get a lot of Prince's deaths in the next 2 chapters. So that's going to be very interesting. I think that Togashi is really going to play on the fact that the most important characters are to stay, and they're the ones that are going to get developed. So I think it's very well done. At first I thought we had too many characters, but now I think it's done because the deaths of the lesser known characters are creating stakes and creating tension. So I think it works, I think it's acceptable, and I think it's done well. So after this, of course, we get Halenburg's body that dies. And now this is a major event. And we see that Prince Benjamin is saying, okay, you can come back now. And we get this nasty panel, this absolute menace of a panel of the dark face of Prince Halenburg. And he's saying, I must kill Prince Benjamin to win the succession war. And it shows the urgency, the demon time he's on, the menace, the pain, almighty push. You know, it shows us his kind of mentality of just absolute savagery. And we see this as an evolution of his character arc, because he's always the sophisticated, the diplomatic, the nice guy, and now he's the monster. So I think that Togashi loves to do that, where he flips characters on their heads. And it shows us how trauma and how difficult situations and adversity shapes and changes people. Of course, I'm going to go back to the Chimera Ant talk. This happened to Shoot. He went from the most timid to the most confident. And I love how he does this. And we also got to see this manga panel of Halenburg when he's explaining his ability, explaining how only people with true loyalty to him, with the leaf on their hands, can be part of this ability. And that we saw this manga panel of this almost Roman-esque soldier standing with his sword, of course, like celebrating, clearly signifying that the soldier, in this case, is Halenburg, who's won the succession contest, but standing on a pile of corpses. And the art style is different. The tone is different. This is a very, very scary but real manga panel. And I thought that this was one of the best manga panels in the entire series. The imagery, the symbolism, it was so masterfully done. And it sets the tone for the path that, of course, Halenburg's going down. And showing that he's going down a very dark road that's, yes, whilst it could lead to victory, he would lose himself and lose his soul in the process. And after this, of course, we get the announcement of Prince Halenburg's death, which is happening on television in the lower tiers. And we get the smoothest transition I've ever seen. I don't know about you guys, but for me, sometimes on Instagram, when you see those reels where it's a smooth transition from a raindrop to the night sky, this is Togashi just saying, hey guys, it's my turn. Let me show you how a master does it. We get this transition from the monitor and everyone speaking, and then the Phantom Troupe in the crowds. And this works fantastically as a transition, but also from one storyline to the other. We get the Phantom Troupe members, of course, Nobunaga saying that he's got an idea, but he wants to talk about to the mafias and get them to talk to the princes to work out just more about the Halei hideout and Halei's abilities to take them down. Of course, Phaeton and characters like, we don't need that, we can just take them down ourselves. And I think it's very interesting. Of course, I love whenever the Phantom Troupe are there. That's why I've got my Phantom Troupe shirt here. And yeah, I think that this is fantastic. I think that we're going to see more into the Phantom Troupe plotline next. We're going to have it go back and forth between the Phantom Troupe and Halenburg, which I think is very interesting because Halenburg mentally is now in that mafia criminal mentality that the Phantom Troupe's in. So we're going to see a lot of dark things happening. And I can't wait. I think that the Phantom Troupe plotline is probably the one I'm the most interested in. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward, of course, to Halenburg's plotline. So to conclude, what do I think of this chapter? I think this is an amazing chapter. This is Togashi at his best, really. I can't give it a 10 out of 10 like last chapter. I don't think it was as good as last chapter, but it wasn't that far behind. So I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I think that this is another great chapter in the Succession War. One of the best in the Succession War. And with that being said, I want to thank you all for watching. I want to hope you all have a great day. I have a playlist on the channel where I do all my videos. There's the Hunter x Hunter chapter reviews, character analysis, breakdowns. So whatever you want to see, it's all there in the playlist section. If you got a comment on what you want me to do, I take suggestions of what to do. I'm currently doing a Hisoka versus series where we compare Hisoka before his fight of Crollo and after to different characters in the series like Bisky. Of course, this was recommended to me in the comments. So whatever you comment, I will do. I upload Hunter x Hunter videos every single day. Hunter x Hunter is my life. I love this. So if you want to be part of the journey, please subscribe, please like, and please let me know what you think down below. This was Hadrigon. Peace out.